The Indians were always telling the Americans that you are being taken for a ride by the Pakistanis as far as terrorism is concerned. And hearing Matthew, it seems that they've been had once again on this, what Matthew calls a very great gift, which was a foreign policy win. How many of these foreign policy wins were given to the Americans during the 20 years of the war in Afghanistan? Every single big Al-Qaeda guy was actually gifted to Pakistan before a visit was to take place from Pakistan to the United States or from the United States to Pakistan. I don't think the Indians and the Americans have ever seen eye to eye on Pakistan. And I remember even during the days when the relationship between India and the US was supposed to be the next big story. Even at that point of time, we had any number of Americans who would come and tell us that, east of India, that is in the Indo-Pacific, we have 95% convergence and 5% divergence. West of India, we have only 5% convergence and 95% divergence. So we've never really seen eye to eye. The Indians were always telling the Americans that you are being taken for a ride by the Pakistanis as far as terrorism is concerned. And hearing Matthew, it seems that they've been had once again on this, what Matthew calls a very great gift, which was a foreign policy win. How many of these foreign policy wins were given to the Americans during the 20 years of the war in Afghanistan? Every single big Al-Qaeda guy was actually gifted to Pakistan before a visit was to take place from Pakistan to the United States or from the United States to Pakistan, or the moment the pressure was rammed up on Pakistan, you produced that, what was that guy called? Khalid what? Khalid Sheikh? Khalid Mohammed Sheikh, Abu Zubaydah, you name the guy, he was produced and handed over to the Americans. And we know how that particular war turned out. The treacherous role that was played by the Pakistanis during the 20 years when they were backing the Taliban completely. And I know it for a fact because in 2003, traveling in Pakistan, there were Pakistanis friends, or erstwhile friends, I should say, who were very active in the tribal belt and who would say that the instructions from the Pakistanis is that don't spare the Al-Qaeda, but don't touch the Taliban. Now, if that's a foreign policy win, then okay, fine, you're welcome to it. But the guy who was handed over to you wasn't really the mastermind of the Abbey Gate attacks. And incidentally, at the time when the Abbey Gate attack happened, people were blaming the Haqqani network. Now nobody's talking about the guy. So I think on this whole terrorism issue, I don't know how much, although it is said that this is one of the central pillars of the new relationship which is developing between the US and Pakistan, I don't know how much of this is based in fact and how much of it based on wishful thinking. The other thing is about how things are going to be, it's basically this India-Pakistan-US triangle. Now, one could be, of course, taking off from what Matthew's saying, look, frankly, I don't consider the Nobel Peace Prize to be anything, so you can give it to Trump or whoever else you want to give it to. Frankly, there are many other undeserving people who have got it. So if President Trump gets it, I am not going to shed any tears on it. I would have thought becoming the president of the United States is the greatest prize in the world, but if he thinks that Nobel Peace Prize is what embellishes his presidency, then he's welcome to it. But there could be certain ego issues involved, especially related to the conflict between India and Pakistan. Now, even out there, I think now the president keeps saying that, well, he's the guy who spoke and who ensured that things don't go out of control. From the Indian side, right from the day one of the conflict, we were very clear that if the Pakistanis are going to stop firing, we will stop firing. And this was the message which was consistently conveyed to all interlocutors from the United States, which did not include the president. In fact, one day before the firing stopped, there was this celebrated interview of the vice president who said, "We have nothing to do with what's happening in South Asia. We don't care. It's their fight. They'll sort it out themselves." And the next day, suddenly you take credit for everything that has happened. From the Indian side, again, now the president keeps saying that I use trade as the dangle. I dangled the trade card before them. The Indian side has been very, very emphatic that in all the conversations they had with the interlocutors from the United States, the trade aspect was never mentioned. That was a separate parallel track which was being negotiated separately. So we don't know, we don't understand, unless of course this was the carrot dangled before Pakistan, that if you back off, we'll give you certain things, and maybe some of those assurances were given to Pakistan in terms of whether it's the trade deal, investments, and what have you. Again, there is this whole, and I don't want to get into, because there is no evidence to suggest it, except perhaps some circumstantial one, that there are, the Trump organization and some of his associates are entering into sweetheart deals with Pakistanis. Again, stranger things are known to have happened, but I wonder, would a country like the United States put what it calls a very pivotal relationship with India at stake because somebody is going to make a few $100 million? Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, stranger things are known to have happened. But again, this whole thing about how much, what is this whole crypto thing worth? The Pakistanis say we are going to start mining cryptocurrency and we will use excess energy to mine crypto in Pakistan in collaboration with that company, World Liberty Financial. The thing is that the price at which electricity is sold in Pakistan does not make it a viable proposition. And I don't know where else in the world has it happened that you dedicate energy supply only for crypto mining. Maybe in Pakistan they'll be able to do it, but they've done many other strange things which have never really worked. Again, this whole thing about critical minerals, oil being discovered. I wrote for the ORF also. I've been hearing this for the last 25 years, that suddenly Allah is going to bestow the Pakistanis with some great wealth, and they're going to be rolling in wealth. It'll be gold one day, copper the second day, oil the third day, gas the fourth day, back to gold. Nothing has really come out. So maybe something will come out now. Critical minerals, again, I don't know what they have, what they don't have. These kind of studies have happened in Afghanistan in the 70s also. Nothing has come out of there. So there is a bit of, like I said, it really doesn't add up. It really doesn't make sense. There is then the factor of China. Some people say that this is one way to wean away Pakistan from China. And frankly, if anybody thinks that the Pakistanis are going to say, okay, fine, we've taken whatever we wanted from China, there's no new money coming from China anyways. The money right now is actually going from international financial institutions which are dominated by the West. So the people who are throwing good money after bad are not the Chinese anymore. They are not investing any new money in Pakistan. It's the World Bank and the ADB which is investing in projects in Pakistan, and it's not the Chinese. So maybe this is the motivation, and to see whether you can at least get some distance between Pakistan and China, although I find that a little far-fetched whether that is going to happen. But again, when you add China into it, then it does not become a triangle. It becomes more of a quadrilateral or a quad of a different kind. Because as far as India is concerned, I think both India and China sense that the kind of hostility that is on display from the United States, and I'm using the word advisedly, it might seem to be a strong word, but it is a hostile kind of an approach which we are seeing from the American administration. And the American administration is what counts. I don't think what the Congress says, what the think tanks say, whether they agree with what the administration is doing or not doing, really matters. What matters is what the administration wants to do. And we've seen that in the past, and nothing better than 71 to give an example, when the American civil society, the American media, the US Congress, every right-thinking person was critical of the genocide that was taking place in the erstwhile East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. That didn't change the policy of the American administration. They doubled down on it behind Pakistan. So anybody who thinks that, what the various think tanks in DC say or what various other people say is going to change the policies of this administration, I don't see that happen really. I would be happy if I was to be proven wrong, because I am one of those who has always believed that India has, the relationship with America is one of the most critical relationships for us. But suddenly, even somebody like me, who was a convert to good relations with America, incidentally, you've got one government in India which is far more pro-West than any other government in India has ever been in the last 80 years. And yet, if this is the kind of attitude that we will see, not that this is not the attitude that the American administration is showing towards other allies, Canada for one, even the Europeans for that matter, the kind of language which is being used, disparaging, demeaning, I don't see how it helps America's cause. I don't see how it advances your cause. Maybe this is a very short-term way of looking at things, and maybe the kind of administration there is looking at only short-term gains and not looking at the long-term damage that is being caused to these relationships. But that's clearly happening. And what you see then is countries like China seeing, okay, fine, that maybe there is an opportunity to settle some of our problems with India. Maybe I'm looking too far. I'm being rather optimistic about the China side. But I think there is a sense that, look, if this hostility is going to only grow going in the future, then should we start looking at some way of balancing it out by settling some of our problems with India? And of course, I think Indians would be stupid to not grab that opportunity if the Chinese are ready to move in that direction. Does that mean all our problems with China will be sorted out? Far from it. Certainly not. I think there will be some serious issues which will remain, many new issues that are going to crop up. But I think some of the problems that have bedeviled relations between us will be settled, and to that extent, that's good. Which brings me to BRICS. Again, it's maybe nuance is lost in DC now. But the fact of the matter remains that in that BRICS organization, India was the one pro-Western party in that group which always moderated the stand of the BRICS. And you are, pardon my French, shitting on us for doing that. I don't see how that makes sense. So, for example, when some of the people in BRICS started talking in terms of a BRICS currency, which was the country which actually opposed it, which said that, no, it doesn't work for us? It was India. When in the last BRICS meeting in Brazil, which was the country which said, look, we are okay if you are going to talk about Iran and the fact that, the attack on Iran and condemn it, but it's better if we don't name who were the countries which did that. It was us who were doing that. And despite all of that, if just the sheer fact that we are members of BRICS and we have interests which are not just limited to the United States. We are not a vassal state. We are not a client state. At least, I don't think anybody in India is going to call President Trump daddy. Maybe the Europeans can call him that and like doing it, but I don't think anybody in India is going to do that. So, frankly speaking, it doesn't make sense. And that brings me to the defense relationship between Pakistan and US. I don't see the defense relationship going back to what it was in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even the 90s. Because I believe that under the current administration, they are not going to give friendship prizes or packages of weapon systems to Pakistan. Unless, of course, something so big is happening that none of us is aware of it, I don't see that happen. If you are going to be charging And actually, we are accused of profiteering from Russian oil, but the Americans are profiteering from supply of weapons to Ukraine now. I don't see how how you're going to sell weapons at bargain basement prices to the Pakistanis, which they actually get at friendship prices from China. So I don't see much in store of this defense relationship. And last 2 points. I know I'm taking too much time, but just let me add these last 2 points. One is of this whole, and both of them are linked with the appointment of the new ambassador and the special envoy for South and Central Asia. Now, it is possible that somebody like him has been appointed. It's not as though Delhi is the most prized posting for an American diplomat, even a political appointee. And yet, if somebody as close as that to Trump is being appointed out here, then there is something which is at play. Now, is that something to bring the relationship back on track and take it forward, smooth out the rough edges, or is it to mess it up even further? If Donald Trump, with his, I wish he was to get the Nobel Prize this year, because at least that would get us rid of that problem of his trying to, make peace unnecessarily. But if this whole thing is about getting, some kind of meddling in India's problems with Pakistan, I don't think this is going to help the India-US relationship at all. I think it is going to only mess it up even more than what has already been messed up. But if this appointment is to try and make some kind of strategic adjustments as far as South and Central Asia is concerned, get the Americans to have a greater footprint in this region, which has been going either into the Chinese orbit or has been in the Russian orbit, and try and get a greater footprint out here, then I don't know. But again, I think there are a lot of unanswered questions on that, questions related to connectivity, questions related to a whole lot of other things, which probably have not been seriously thought out. And then there is the Iran factor. Again, just as I don't think you're going to get any relief from Pakistan as far as terrorism is concerned, there are going to be limits to what the Pakistanis are going to do, because after all, jihadist terrorists are their biggest strategic asset. I don't see how the Pakistanis are going to go beyond a point, even against Iran. They have their problems, and I believe, at least in some of those areas adjoining Iran, there is, at least those are the conspiracy theories, or those are the reports, that there is some American presence, there is some British presence, all kinds of other groups are at play out there to create some kind of trouble in Iran, using groups like the Jandullah and others. But beyond that, I don't see the Pakistanis opening a new front at the behest of the Americans against Iran. So I'm as, if everybody is confused after listening to me, trust me, I'm more confused than you are as to what exactly is leading to this closeness between US and Pakistan.